And I'm going to ask you the same question. Let's bring it in. Where would you have been had you not gave up on your goals 5 years ago, 3 years ago, last year? Where would you be?
Cerebral flow in my head I go. Try reach me now, but my cell line slow. I keep it low, it's like where'd I go. Try teach me how, but I said I know. People know me like you like hope, and I need to know premise when I show. I collect my dough, do my thing and go.
Show me the habits and I'll show you the person. If you want to change a person, you have to change their habits. Our habits make us. And the problem is we set all these goals with no intention of changing our habits, and that's why your goals are failing. In the video, that's the point made right there. You don't even have to watch anymore. No, but really, in my last video, not my last video, but in one of my first video of this year, I mentioned how in order to reach your fitness goals, you have to change who you are as a person. And the same thing applies with any goal you have in your life. So in this video, I'm going to give you some examples of common goals that are out there. But I'm also going to give you the habits that one has to build in order to reach that particular goal. Some examples. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you the biggest habit of all, called the Keystone habit. I'm going to talk to you what that is about, and I'm actually going to give you living proof example of how I implemented that Keystone habit into my life and what came from that. So let's get into the video. Goal number 1, I want to lose weight. Okay, what were the habits that led you to gain weight? Did you wake up first thing in the morning and spend 15 minutes to an hour scrolling through social media instead of getting in active movement? Were you more so of a couch potato that kind of just sat and watched TV or worked at an office desk or, did something that required you to be seated all day long? Do you eat out with your coworkers for lunch Monday through Friday? Are your stress levels high? Do you have a poor sleep schedule, or all of the above? Great. It's great because now that we know what habits got us here, we can figure out which habits in there we can change to improve and reach towards that goal we're trying to accomplish. So here are some new habits you could begin to implement that will slowly over time make you a different person and help you lose weight. So avoid social media the first hour that you wake up. Use that time for you. Maybe read a book. Maybe sit and think about your life. Maybe get up and go make your tea or whatever, but just don't get on your phone. Let's change that habit into something else. Instead of going to lunch with your coworkers or your friends or whoever Monday through Friday, begin meal prepping. Just take a couple hours out of your day on a Sunday evening, make something that will last you throughout the week, and take that for lunch every single day. Go on a short walk every single day from 5 to 45 minutes, however much you can afford to do at this time. And on top of that, when you're at home, at work, or in any social setting where you're sitting for most of the time, every hour, just stand up, stretch, walk around a little circle, and then have a seat again. But you're putting in that habit of getting up every hour so that you're breaking up the time you are spending sitting. Buy water instead of buying soda and juice. If you like the carbonation taste, if that's what you're chasing, then buy a sparkling water. But again, just try to find something different for what you're already going to the store and buying. And have a consistent sleep schedule. No matter what's going on in life, try to go to bed at the same time every single day to get your sleep regulated and get in the habit of going to bed at the same time. These are all just habits. These are all new routines. But slowly but surely, they build a new you. And that is the key. Common goal number 2, I want to save money. All right, well, how are you losing money? Are you, again, eating out all the time and spending money, giving it to restaurants and fast food chains and who knows who else? Are you not looking at your finances at all, ever, so you don't really know how much money you have or where it's going? Are you loaning money to family and friends, money that you don't really have, money that you're supposed to be using to pay your bills or build your own future? Are you subscribed to subscriptions that you're never using? TV subscriptions, music subscriptions, gym memberships, like all these reoccurring fees. Are any of those you're not using at all, yet you're still enrolled in them? Buy everything impulsively. Do you think having a credit card means this is money that you can just spend whether you have it or not? So again, these are all the habits of someone who might not have that much money in their bank account or as much as they want to have. So these are habits we have to get out of to build the habit of saving money. Here are our new habits that we can implement to help us save money. Number 1 is open up your notes app. Do this. Go ahead, do it right now. Open up your notes app. Start a new note called wish list. And now every time you're out somewhere, every time you're on social media and you see something that you want to buy, instead of putting it in the cart and buying it in that moment, just Add it to the wish list. Like, this is something that I want. It's going on my wish list. And then once a month, actually treat yourself to something, because we're all living this life. We deserve a little something every now and then. So once a month, have it a reoccurring event on your calendar of a shopping day, a me day, or whatever the case may be. And on that day, this is when you get to buy something. You get to go out shopping. But instead of going out and again buying random stuff, go to your wish list. These are things that you saw within the month that you really wanted for yourself, or at that time really wanted to buy. Buy something off of it. Two things are going to happen. One, there's going to be something on that list that you don't even want anymore. Like, you're like, I don't even need that. I don't know why I put this on the list. It's because you allowed that to sit and simmer for a minute, and then you came to the realization once that high has worn off that you don't even need it, or you don't even want it. So half of the stuff on the list is just going to be gone by the waist high anyway. Or two, you might actually see something that you still want, and the great thing about that is that means whatever that item is, it's something that you're actually going to use. So it's not something you're going to buy and it's going to sit in the corner and collect dust until you're cleaning one day and you decide to sell it to someone else because you never used it, or worse, it just sits there and never goes anywhere. No, this is going to be something that you actually are going to be using on a day-to-day basis, and you're going to get your money worth out of this. So with this habit, you can't go wrong. Another habit we can do is begin to automate our savings. Now, don't tell me, well, KT, I'd rather be more involved with my finances and I want to make the transfers over to my savings by myself. Because listen, if you could have done that, you would have done that, and you ain't been doing that. So just go ahead and save us both the trouble and automate it. So you can either set it as a reoccurring dollar amount or a reoccurring percentage of a check or whatever. So if you want to save, let's say, $40 a month, then every week just have an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account of $10. If you want to only save when you get paid, and you know you get paid every other Friday, then every other Friday have a reoccurring transfer from your checking account to your savings account of 10% of $10, whatever you want it to be, so that it's already there. We're building that habit. And because the money is going to be gone before you even get a chance to look at it, that's just $10 less that week that you can't spend. But you're not going to miss it because it never reached your account anyway. So small habits that add up. By the end of the year, you'll have a lot more in your savings than you would have if you didn't do this otherwise. And the last habit I'll give you is make an actual budget and follow it. Look at it every Friday and make sure that you're still on track for how much money you wanted to spend, how much money you wanted to save, how much money you want to never go below in whatever account you have. Like, just make sure that you're staying on track of this budget by checking in on it every week. Now, all of the habits I mentioned in this section require some startup work, yes, but once you do it, it works for itself, and you'll notice that more money is in your pocket instead of in the pockets of someone else. So let's get those implemented as soon as possible. Another goal is I want to network more. I want to make friends. I want to find a partner. I want to, build my social community. However, you have a habit of staying in your room, not talking to people, not saying hi to people on the street. When people invite you to attend a company event or come out and hang out with a friend, you always say no. So you're in a habit of declining social engagement. That's the habit we're going to have to change. So our new habit is going to be saying yes more often. Your boss or your coworker say, hey, we're throwing some little get together on Saturday. You want to come? Say yes. Go to it. You don't know who's going to be there. That annoying coworker that invited you might have a very unannoying friend or sibling or who knows what that they might bring to the event. Now you get to meet that person. That could be your best friend. But you wouldn't have known if you didn't go to the event. So even if the event or the person doesn't seem like the kind of event or person you'd want to go to or you'd want to be around, go anyway. You never know what could happen. There's so many stories out there in the world of a great thing coming out of something that someone was originally going to say no to. They went on a date with someone and looked at them and was like, this isn't even my type. I don't know why I came to this date. And then that turned out to be their spouse for the next 30 years. That person, when they walked into the classroom and they locked eyes, they just knew, like, this is not my type of person. I don't like that person. That person's annoying and loud. Ends up being their best friend, godparent of their future child. When you were swiping on all these connection apps and there was that one person and you're like, I'm going to swipe left on that person because that person doesn't seem like my type, ends up being the best person in your life right now. So I'm just saying, you got to take a chance sometimes. Switch it up. Because again, the types that you've been going after is clearly not working for you. You're still single. You still don't have friends. You still don't have the social community. You got to branch out and try new things. And the last example I'll give you is something on the lines of intellectual, whether that's I want to read more books, I want to learn a new language, something like that. Okay, well, again, what's stopping you from doing that? Well, maybe you're spending your time doing other stuff. Maybe you're spending 2 hours a day watching TV. That could be 2 hours spent reading a book. That could be 2 hours spent at a class learning a language. So what habits are getting you into this place of not being able to reach these intellectual goals? So in this habit, I'm actually going to give you a little tip when it comes to habits. We never have enough time, right? So a big problem people have is I don't have time to do all this new stuff. Well, instead of trying to find new time, just change the time that you're already spending. So in this example, let's say you are someone who every night spends 2 hours binging your favorite TV show or whatever time of the day, but you spend about 2 hours watching TV or 2 hours scrolling on social media. That's time that's you're already spending. So how about we just replace the activity? Instead of watching TV, let's read that book. Instead of watching TV, let's take that course. You don't have to spend the whole 2 hours doing it because, again, this is about building a habit. This is just doing something every day. So maybe instead of spending 120 minutes watching TV, we spend 100 minutes watching TV and 20 minutes reading the book or 20 minutes taking that course. And then over time, we can increase it. Now we're spending 90 minutes watching TV and 30 minutes studying or reading some book. You know what I'm saying? So we're just changing that time around. And that goes with everything. With the morning routine, instead of getting up in the morning and scrolling on social media for 30 minutes, the 30 minutes you were already spending scrolling through social media, just replace that with a new habit, with a new activity that is pushing you towards your goals. Okay, so I promised you the Keystone habit. So when I was sharing with you some of these habits, did you notice that there were some things that overlapped? For example, not eating out not only puts money back into your pockets, which was that goal of saving money, it also helps you lose weight because you're not eating out as much. So that was changing that one habit is working towards two goals, okay? So that is what the Keystone habit is. It's a habit that affects all other habits. It's the golden habit. It's the habit that's holding everything in place. I want you to find that habit because that habit is going to take you further in life. And I'm going to explain to you what my Keystone habit is and how that has worked for me. So my Keystone habit was waking up early every single day. It didn't matter if I had to work. It didn't matter if this was an off day. It didn't matter what I had to do that day. I want to wake up at the same time every single day. And the reason I chose to do that was because I want to change my internal clock a little bit. I don't want to have to rely on alarm clocks. I want my body to wake up at this time that I want to wake up. So for me, that was 6 a.m. I've tried the 5 and 4 a.m. before, and it worked, but I just realized that I want a little more sleep. So 6 a.m. was my key time, okay? And so I decided to set this alarm at first for the first week of every day at 6 a.m. until my body began to naturally wake up at that time on its own. And of course, it was uncomfortable. But the problem with that is no one ever wants to wait out that uncomfortable period. All things are uncomfortable in the beginning, and that's the problem. You can't stick through that uncomfortability to get to the reward at the end. Delayed gratification. So I began noticing after, and this only took about 5 to 6 days of the alarm constantly going off at 6 a.m. and me getting right out of bed. I didn't hit snooze and go back to sleep. I got up. And I began noticing that I would wake up before my 6 o'clock alarm, 5:30, 5:35, 5:48, anytime as long as it was before 6 a.m., I was already awake. So I was grateful. I'm like, I did it. My body is waking up at 6 a.m. every day. This is exactly what I want. So once I got that done, I decided, okay, you're up now. What are you going to do with this time? This is our time to work on goals because, again, it's about those habits. So I asked myself, what other habits can we build now to get you towards some of those goals you set in 2025? So one of the first goals I set was getting back into connection with my spirituality. And the way that I did that before was through journaling and meditation. I've never been good at meditation, but I've always been good at journaling. So that wasn't the problem. But I wanted to start small. That's another thing. Sometimes when we jump into starting a new goal, we do too much at once. a little bit of time and let that build. So I have a journal pre-designed and it asks me 3 questions. Like, what are some positive affirmations you can tell yourself? What are you grateful for today? And how will you make today awesome? Like, that's it. Takes 5 minutes of my time, if that. So I open up that journal, I fill it out. There's my journaling for the day. And then for meditation, again, I haven't really been good at that. It's really hard for me to just, sit in silence for a long time. So what I began to do, I'll rephrase that. I have no problem sitting in silence. It's silence in my mind. That's the problem. So instead of trying to do that, I decided to just give myself something to think about. And so I thought, well, now that you've written these things in this journal, let's just think about what you wrote. You wrote that these are the things that you're grateful for. Let's visualize and think about that. You wrote about how you're going to make today awesome. Let's visualize that day and think about that. You wrote some of your positive affirmations. Let's feel those in our body. And that was it, another 5 minutes. So that's 10 minutes of my morning every single day to build up that routine of connection with my spiritual self. And so again, this one wasn't as uncomfortable because I'm already up. I already have the journal and I already have the questions to ask myself. So it's just a matter of doing it. But now that I've done it so often, that is now a habit. It's not that hard for me. So once I began building up that habit, I said, okay, well, it's 6:10 now, 6:15. Still a lot of the morning left. What else do you want to do? Well, I have a habit of reading more books like a lot of us do. So I said, well, you're up, down. You've already connected with yourself spiritually. Let's read something. You have a lot of books. So that's what I did. I crack open a book. And the time doesn't matter. I don't tell myself you have to read for 30 minutes, you have to read for 20 minutes, you have to read an entire chapter. I just read until I feel that has been enough. I do make a cap because sometimes I can get really lost in the story and now 2 hours have passed and that's a lot of time. I didn't want to spend that much time reading a book. So I have a cap of 30 minutes, but any time in between that is fair game. So if I just want to read for 5 minutes, that's fine. If I want to read for 20 minutes, that's fine. As long as it's in that 30-minute window, that counts because I'm building up this habit of reading in the morning. After I did that, usually around 6:30, I'm done reading. Guess what? There's still a lot of time left in this morning. So I say, what do you want to do now? And so I've been wanting to give myself an energetic boost in the morning. And my way of doing this was doing some form of cardio. I'm not an outside runner, but in my apartment complex, there is a gym across the way that I can go, and it has bikes, it has treadmills, it has arc trainers. So I said we're going to go over there and we're going to do 15 to 20 minutes of cardio. Not too much, just enough to get the body going. I began putting out my clothes the night before so that I could just jump into them the next morning. But yeah, so now I go over there and I do this 15 to 20 minutes of cardio. Now, me personally, videos like this that I'm making right now that are encouraging, uplifting, that's other people living a life or giving me some kind of tools that I find valuable that I can't really seek anywhere, that gives me motivation for my day. That gives me motivation to come on here and record these videos. That gives me ideas and creativity. In fact, this video right now, I got this idea while I was on the arc trainer. I was like, this 6 a.m. morning routine is going really well for me. I should talk about this. So given I'm saying it gets my creativity flowing. So I decide during that time, instead of listening to the same songs I always listen to, let's put on a podcast. Let's listen to someone that has achieved something in life that you want to achieve. Let's listen to someone who's giving thoughtful and insightful information while you do this cardio. 2 things at one time. So now once I've done this, now I have this new sense of energy. Now I feel full and I feel creative and I feel powerful. Now I can go into my workday and feel like I have the willpower, that I have the intellectual stamina, that I have the creativity to go out and pursue whatever it is I want to pursue. Just listening to those audios for 15 minutes in the morning has, it just opens so much inside of me that really helps with my work performance. So I began doing that. So if you're still with me, we got up, we did the spiritual connection, we did the intellectual connection, we got the clothes on, we went over to the gym, we did 15 minutes of cardio. So now it's 7 a.m. I still have time in my day. So then I said, what do you want to do next? And so another thing I've been wanting to do is improve my calisthenics. So I want to be able to do more pull-ups, more push-ups, and other calisthenic moves. So I thought, let's spend this time You're already at the gym. You already made the effort of coming over here. They have, mats. They have a bar to do pull-ups. It's a perfect setting for you. So just go ahead and do it while you're here. Don't go back home. Just do it while you're here. And so I did. I told myself I would spend 30 minutes doing that. While you do this, you're also wanting to learn a new language. So let's put on a podcast in said language. So now I'm working on my calisthenics and working on learning a new language at the same time. 2 goals and 1 action. So then once I finished that, I said, okay, you've been up for, an hour and a half, almost 2 hours now. It's about time for some food. So then I come back to my home and I fix myself a nice, nutritious breakfast. Something that's full of protein, some kind of fruit and or vegetable, a nice whole grain, whatever. I make it nice and fulfilling. By now it's, maybe 8:30ish, and then I decide to start my day. I come in here, I sit right at this desk, and I'm creating programs. I'm coming up with new business ideas. I'm doing an outline for a future YouTube video because now I have the energy for that. And all of this started from the one habit of waking up at 6 a.m. So that was my Keystone habit. And that's what I mean. So I want you to find what habit is going to open up more doors for you. What's one thing you can change that's going to help several goals? There's one habit you can implement right now that's going to help you achieve several of your goals. So I'm going to recap this one more time just so you see. So my one habit of waking up at 6 a.m. helped me develop several habits. I developed the habit of journaling and meditating, which is helping with my spiritual growth. I developed the habit of reading every single morning, which is building my intellectual growth. I implemented the habit of going to the gym in the morning and doing cardio and strength training, which is doing wonders for my blood sugar. It's doing wonders for my weight management. It's doing wonders for my endurance. It's doing wonders for my strength, my overall strength. While I'm doing that, I have also listened to personal development videos, which is helping me grow as a person and consume information. And I've listened to a podcast in a different language. I'm spending at least 5, if not 7 days a week listening to something in that different language that's going to, over time, build up my ear to that language. And lastly, I came home and had a fulfilling breakfast that's going to help me later in the day. It's going to limit cravings. It's going to help me feel fuller for longer, which is also going to help me with that weight management and overall health longevity. And all of this between the hours of 6 and 8 a.m. every single morning. And I've done those 5 things for my own growth. 5 goals from that one habit of waking up at 6 a.m. and building on it. There have been many times in my life I've been with someone and they're looking at an old picture of themselves. And maybe this was when they were starting a new habit of trying to read or trying to lose weight or trying to learn a language or whatever goal they set. And they asked themselves in that moment, where would I have been right now had I not given up? This is like those Facebook memories sometimes, or Instagram memories, or any kind of memories where it's like 7 years ago on this day, and you see that it was a post that you posted about going to the gym, or a post that you posted about starting a new journey, and then you realize, I didn't stick with that, and now here we are 7 years later, and you're wondering where would you be had you just stuck to it. Well, let's stop wondering. Let's stick to that this year. Let's do something different, and this is what we're doing differently. We're actually implementing habits to achieve our goals. No more of the days that we're setting goals and with no intention of changing who we are. Let's change who we are. Let's change those habits. And I'm going to ask you the same question. Let's bring it in. Where would you have been had you not given up on your goals 5 years ago, 3 years ago, last year? Where would you be? The time is going to pass us anyway. What do you want to say you did with your time? Alright, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did like it, you know what to do. Give me that beautiful thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Comment on this video. Engage with me. Let me know some of your goals this year, some habits that you want to change. And don't forget to join the community. The link to my website is always down below in the description box, as well as all social media platforms I'm on. So feel free to follow me on those. Subscribe to the newsletter and the blog, as I do put up good information, I'd like to say, on different topics through that source as well. Download the app so that you can stay connected. And last but not least, share this with someone that you love, someone that you know really needs to change the habit. Someone that you know that sets the same goals every single year and keeps falling off the rocker. This is our opportunity to change that. So don't hog the information for yourself. Share with someone else that can benefit. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you in the next video. And as always, don't forget to crush it.